Oh, we're broadcasting.
We are now broadcasting. Welcome. The attendees are pouring in. Welcome to PGC Plus in the very first episode of The Peak. We are just passing 200 attendees, and we'll give a couple more seconds for everyone to join. Welcome. A couple of best practices as everyone's joining. We're looking forward to connecting with each and every one of you. If you just put your cursor or touch your screen of your smartphone, you'll see there's some options at the bottom. There'll be a chat that you'll be able to chat with all the other attendees, and we'll be using that chat function a little bit. You also see that there's a function at the bottom for a Q&A, and we'll be asking a couple of questions on as well. So feel free to drop a message in the chat box where you see our boy Matt McLeod. Okay, I like it. Hello, Matt. Welcome from Oklahoma City. Stuart Miles, welcome. Excited to be hanging out with you guys. So feel free to drop in your name and where you're dialing in from. And as you're dropping that in, my name's Tyler Coston, and I'm dialing in from Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm Kyle Kazuda. I'm sitting right next to you. I'm also dialing in from Phoenix, Arizona.
Gosh, what a great place. I love it. And so if you got a question that comes up, put the question in the Q&A. And if you want to just give a shout out, say where you're at or where you're coming in from, drop it in the chat box. Man, those
we got someone from Belgium, Georgia, Maryland,
Spokane, Washington, the house, Dresden, Tennessee. That was my quick. I like that one.
Tucson, Arizona.
Man, this is good
Missouri,
stuff.
Alabama, Georgia.
Awesome. Well, let me just quickly welcome everyone to The Peak, where we're going to examine your vision and be looking around the corner. These are interesting times. They're exciting times, and there's sometimes some unique obstacles, and we got some more time on our hands.
Yeah, and Tyler, I do want to start by saying this because I know there's a lot of people out there that are thinking this, that know you, and there's people out there that are thinking this that don't know you. The question is, who let Macklemore on this call? You look like Macklemore.
Hey, I got that when I was younger and he was more popular, but I'm glad that you're keeping the dream alive.
Hey, people tell me that I look like Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which really confuses me because I look nothing like Adam Sandler.
Hey, I had to think about that one for a minute.
It was funny.
It is funny. Here's what The Peak is. The Peak is going to be a free-flowing conversation about how to get better at the game of basketball and how to get better at the game of life. And so we're excited to do it with you. We'll occasionally touch on obscure subject matter like doppelgangers. We may or may not spell doppelganger for you. And, just beg your attention, your participation. So we're excited to get started. And this very first time, we're going to talk about how you can train different. And we're in a different time. It's tough to get in a gym. It's tough to get games. There's a lot of challenges. And so a different time calls for a different approach. And one approach that we embrace at PGC Basketball is an approach of gratitude and celebration. And so we're going to always kick off The Peak with some celebrations, either celebrating someone in your life, celebrating something in your life, or expressing gratitude for something in your life. And so I would just invite everyone right now into the chat box to type in a celebration of someone or something in their life, because especially in this moment when there's so much concern and there's so much unknown about the future right now, it's really easy just to get stressed and cynical about the situation. But one thing that can really calm yourself and focus yourself and change your whole perspective is to share some celebration, some gratitude. So Kyle, you want to kick us off with the celebration?
I will, yeah. So I'll celebrate my dad, who's a doctor, and in fact, all healthcare workers. My dad's been sharing some stories. He's working in the ER day and night. As I know, there's a lot of people who work in healthcare who are facing long days, long nights to help the people in need. And so I talked to my dad last night, and I just celebrate his commitment to serving and his commitment to helping people get better through this time.
Awesome. And at PGC, we recognize that gratitude, that celebration, support for each other with snaps. So if you're snapping alone in your room right now, know that there's about 600 people all across North America, the world, snapping with you right now. Let me just identify one from Jim Mucky. Jim just celebrates and says he's grateful for all his players who are on this call with him and are getting better, even though they're not able to get in the gym. And I think that's a great celebration for all of you. Thanks for joining us here on the Peak, and want to celebrate all you. And my final celebration is actually going to be for you, Kyle. I guess it's a lot more fun being able to do it with you than just talking to a screen. So I celebrate you being here. No, I'm actually not going to celebrate you, but I'll give that celebration. Here's what I want to celebrate. If you are at home right now and you're like, man, that is some beautiful photography and art up behind you right now, I celebrate my wife, Stephanie, who actually painted and created that art.
That's pretty good. I thought it was a pro at first. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's a pro? All right, so let's dive in on how to train different. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to train different right now in this unique situation, and I would encourage you or you, Kyle, to ask questions and to really dig into these things, because we're in a really different situation right now. And here's the thing. One of my favorite quotes is this: to improve is to change, and to perfect is to change constantly. Whenever a challenging situation comes up, that obstacle is actually a wonderful opportunity, because people may be better or more prepared for a situation that they expect. But the moment you throw some chaos into the mix, you throw an obstacle, you throw a challenge into the mix, it levels the playing field. And as I was thinking about this current situation where, you know, some tournaments are being canceled, practices are being canceled, people can't get into gyms as often, this is not just a challenging obstacle. It's actually a wonderful opportunity for anyone that loves the game of basketball and is invested in their growth and improvement, because this is where you can catch some people. This is where you can lapse some people. Everyone's on a level playing field now trying to figure out, how can I get better? How can I train different? And I hope that we can help you get here. And to me, I thank you for dropping that question in there. I will share that quote again right now. To improve is to change. To perfect is to change constantly. And if you've got a question, it'll be easier for us to see it if you just go to the Q&A and type your question in there. Feel free to interact with each other in the chat box right there. So as we talk about how to train different right now, let me give you the first one that I jotted down that I really kind of want to chop up, and it's basically this. And actually, let me do it by, I'm going to interview Kyle right now, as Kyle's a lot closer to his playing career than I am. A lot closer, and we still jump the same height. So Kyle, when you were training, let's say back when you were in high school, very good high school player, being recruited by colleges, and you had to go out and train on your own. What would you say you did most often when you had to train on your own? What did you do?
I shot. But yeah, I say I went on my driveway a lot, and I shot very passively. Mm-hmm. I walked around a lot. It's hard to motivate yourself. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to work out by yourself. Yeah. And so that's probably the main thing I did.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And what, before you went out and shot, like, what was your plan?
When I was in high school, I didn't really have one.
Like, how long did you go out and shoot? How long were you planning to shoot for when you walked out of your door?
I usually shoot till I felt like stopping.
Right. And yes, and most common answer. And so here's the first one. And I won't even dig into Kyle anymore right now, because we all know it's true. Here's how you train different. You have a plan. You actually have a plan. I'll tell you a quick story. I have a friend that is a trainer, and he got the call of a lifetime about 5 years ago. And LeBron James was going up to Nike headquarters in Portland, Oregon, to get worked out while he was signing an updated $1 billion lifetime contract. And so my friend got the call. It's like, hey, do you want to work out LeBron during his 4 or 5 day stay here? And my dude said, absolutely. I've been waiting for this my whole life. I don't want to work out LeBron James, right? So he's calling me. He's calling everybody he knows, like, what do I do with LeBron? What do I do with LeBron? He had no contact with LeBron before he actually went and worked him out. And so he's telling me the story afterwards. He's in the upstairs second floor gym there at Nike headquarters, and in walks LeBron James with his entourage, like ready to go. And so I'm not gonna say his name. My guy goes up. He's like, all right, we're gonna start doing this, LeBron. And LeBron says, hold up. Says, I need to see the plan. And my guy's like, oh, well, we're gonna do this. And LeBron says, no. Like, let me see the written plan. And my guy didn't have it written down. Like, he's like, well, I got kind of like my notes here. And LeBron's like, that's not a plan. And he walks out.
True story?
True story. True story. True
That's
story.
a good one.
And so my guy, like, I heard this a couple of days later, and my guy's just like crushed. He's like standing there, Nike reps running up to him, like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? He's like, I don't know. And so he goes home that night and just sitting there, like thinking about what would I have done different, writes out the plan a couple times, gets a call from Nike saying, hey, LeBron's going to give you another chance tomorrow. And so my guy goes back the next day. LeBron walks into the gym. What do you think he had? He had 10 copies. He had one for the manager and the manager's assistant. Like, he's handing out plans. And LeBron's like, okay, yeah, let's not focus on this. Yes, let's do more on that. Let's get to work. And the reason I share that is success leaves clues. Like, no one at the top of the mountain ever fell there.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can we train different? Well, we can look at people that have gotten to the place that we want to get to and just imitate them. Just imitate them. And if the best always go into the gym with a plan, what are we doing basing our game on hope, just going and shooting around on the outdoor courts until we feel tired?
Right.
Train different. And just quick addition on that, had the cool opportunity to listen to Damian Lillard talk recently at a coach's clinic out here in Arizona. And he said this. He said, growing up, I wasn't better than people. And I think a lot of you athletes on the call right now, you're not better than players that you want to be better than yet. There's people better than you, so you're not yet as good as you want to be, maybe getting the opportunities that you want to get, whether it be playing time, making a team, getting a scholarship offer. You're in the same place that Lillard was when he was in high school, where he's like, man, I'm just not better than people yet. And he said this, and I really liked it. He said, because I wasn't better, I knew I had to be different. And that's really the inspiration for the whole title of this call, is train different. And what that meant for him, what he shared was, he said, guys, they just weren't that coachable. They didn't take coaching. He said, so I just sought out the best coaching that I could find. I sought out the best mentors I could find, and I just trusted them. And I did what they said. He said, a lot of guys that were better than me, they wouldn't listen. He said, the second thing is, he's like, I just saw people not being on time. And he said, I thought I was never going to be late. I was going to be early for things. So I would always get more work in than the people that showed up on time or late. He said that was different. He said for him, what that meant was when he was on the court and training, no jewelry. He said all the guys that were better than him, they're always swagged out. They had their bling. People still say bling. You're here to help me with these things.
Bling. You still. Okay.
So they had all their stuff, and he's like, I'm never gonna wear jewelry when I'm on the court. I had to be different. And then he said this. Oh gosh, it gives me some goosebumps right now. He's like, I've been different for so long. Now I'm better. I've been different for so long. Now I'm better. And that's what train different means. Ice or drip. Thanks, Matt Armstrong. Gosh, you're keeping me relevant. Go ahead.
Hey, so what would you say if a player who's in high school right now, or a middle school player, or even a college player, and they're like, I am better than all of my teammates. I'm better than everybody else in my area, and I'm not doing what you just said, but I'm still better.
Absolutely. I would say you're going to run into a spot, and actually real soon it's going to smack you in the face when you're no longer better and you got nothing to fall back on. And then your career's done. It happens over and over and over again. You get to a certain level where your talent doesn't carry you anymore. And once it doesn't carry you anymore, once you hit that level where it doesn't carry you anymore, you don't have time to catch up. You don't have time to catch up. You can be like, oh, I want to start doing it now. No, because at that level, the difference, we've got a mutual friend, Clint Cebulski. Clint Cebulski, if you're on this call from Ontario, shout out to you, my man. Clint Cebulski was the last cut for the Toronto Raptors G League team. The last cut. And what's awesome about that is Clint didn't play at the highest level in college. Clint isn't some physical specimen. He's short and he's small, right? But he was the last cut. And here's the craziest thing, like he was the last cut along with guys that are playing in the NBA right now. And here's why I share this with you, is the difference at the highest level is so small that the moment you run into someone, whatever level it is, you run into someone that's as good as you or a little bit better than you, you don't have time to start doing it differently and catch up, because there's so many people that are so close to you. And I think Clint's just a great example of that. That's a great celebration of Clint. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. It
was a really good question.
It was a great question.
So have a plan. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing here on The Peak is we're going to be going through all of our directors and interviews with people in the basketball community to let you know what it takes. We're going to give you a behind the scenes peek. We're gonna give you a behind the scenes peek at like what it takes to be different. And so here's the second one. First, we know you got to have a plan. How do you build out a plan? We're going to really help you and dive deep into that in coming episodes for how you have a plan. But here's the second thing I want to share with you about how to train different. And Kyle, if there's any wonderful questions here at any point, just interrupt me and grab them. Feel free to scroll through those if you want. The second one is deliberate practice. And actually, I actually got to ask Kyle this one again. All right, so Kyle, you've worked out on your own. I don't know if we can call it worked out. You shot around on your own in a driveway before, okay? But I'm sure you trained harder on your own through college, right? Yeah. And you've also been trained by trainers before, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say is the biggest difference between training that you did on your own and training that you would do with a trainer?
Yeah, probably number one, when I was with a trainer, they always would push me a little bit harder than I typically push myself. They coached me more than I would coach myself. And there was a lot more conversation than there was just shooting or just
doing something. Yeah, that's really good. So I'm gonna try to highlight something I think Kyle dug into here, and I'll ask all of you athletes and coaches on the call right now, just do a self check. On average, I want you to answer this one.
Yep.
On average, feel free to drop your answers to this one in the chat box as well. You don't know where I'm going with this one yet. On average, when training with a trainer or watching an athlete being trained by a trainer, how many times per training session, let's say it's an hour-long training session, how many times per training session will the trainer or coach stop the player and provide correction? Think about your answer, drop your number into the chat box. How many times per hour will the trainer stop the athlete and provide correction? So before you answer, Kyle, let's read a couple of these. Okay. 120, a lot. 5, too many. Health. I have like 1,000.
75.
Okay, 50. Constantly. All right. So here it is. I think we can agree more than 0. I think we can agree more than 0. And obviously, as coaches and as athletes, we can debate. Maybe that'd be a great debate on a future peak episode. How much is too much, or how little is too little? That's a lot of zeros. I'm not seeing any decimal points. All right, Kyle, in your experience.
Yeah, I'd say with a 1 hour session.
Yeah.
25 times.
25 times. All right. Now that falls right into the range. All right. So here's the follow-up question. When watching an athlete, or when you are training on your own, and Kyle, you can answer this as well, how many times do athletes training on their own stop themselves mid-training session, correct a technical error, and then deliberately and slowly fix it and evaluate it? You can read what's going on. We go from never to lower numbers. It is less. Kyle, what would your honest answer be on that? Maybe when you were like, college, Division I and Division II college player.
I would say high school was probably maximum 1 to 2. Yep. College was probably an hour workout, maybe 5 times.
Maybe 5 times. Yeah. Absolutely. And so this is what deliberate practice is. I'm so glad the best do this. I had the opportunity to watch Steve Nash train himself. He just had a rebounder, train himself. This was probably in 2006 or 7. And what blew my mind, and it was really what changed my mind about training different with deliberate practice, is he was on his own and he constantly stopped himself, visually looked at his positions, checked for blind spots. He did perfect, super slow motion, deliberate reps so that he could encode the successful movement into his body first before he tried to do it fast. Because when we add speed, we tend to create errors. And we all know, like, oh yeah, work so hard until you lose the ball. Good. Yes, good, but not great. I gotta repeat that. Like, going so hard that you make mistakes is good, but it's not great. What's great is push yourself till you make a mistake. Stop. Provide correction or correct yourself. Do it as slow as necessary to do it perfectly, and then add speed and intensity until you make a mistake and stop. And what so much research has done, whether it be Daniel Coyle's The Talent Code or Doug Lembov's Practice Perfect, encoding success in deliberate practice actually accelerates learning and improvement. That's training different. That's 1%. That's 5%. That's the difference between you and that person that's just as good as you at the highest levels in the moment. Myelin Sheaths, shout out Myelin Sheaths, Dan. We don't have enough time to get into Myelin Sheaths. Let me just pause right there before we go into our third one and see if Kyle, you've got a question or if there's a good question for us to dive into right here.
Yes, I would say I'm seeing a common theme of I'm sitting at my house right now.
Right.
What's the first step I should do? How do I create a plan? It's windy outside. I saw that was a question.
That's good.
There's not even a hoop in my
That's
driveway.
good. That's really good. So these are all great questions, and I will answer the gist of that briefly, but here's the big answer. This, okay? Your questions are why we created this. And so this being our first, peak episode, we want to cast a vision like it's time. This is different times. We got to train different. How do you do it? Well, tomorrow, Rudy Bentley is going to give you a physical lower body train different that you do in your house. Once we get into next week, we're going to go into some ball handling, we'll go some shooting. We're going to give you ways to train different. And as we continue to build out PGC Plus to serve you in these times, we're going to give you the exact ways. Come along with us on this journey because we're going to do it. That's my right now answer because we've got about 3 minutes left here before we move on. Is that all right? Are we with it? All right, beautiful. So here it is, last one, and it's an approach. It's an approach to training different because Kyle would shoot on his own. Kyle, Tyler, every one of us, we would shoot or train on our own until we felt like going in. And in the midst of a shooting workout, we didn't really care that much about each individual repetition because we were just shooting around. And here's the third way to train different: pound the stone. The third way to train different is pound the stone. And here's what I mean. When a stone carver is carving a stone, it might take 1,000 strikes with the chisel and hammer before that slab of stone shears off and exposes the shape that the stone carver was. It might take 1,000. Now, the natural predisposition of most athletes, most of us, most basketball players, is when we hit that final strike, when we get that bucket, when we get that scholarship, when we achieve whatever, we think that's the moment where we have the breakthrough. False. False, false, false. The first strike of the 1,000 was just as important as the 1,000th strike, every single one. And if we are just waiting for that slab to fall off or that breakthrough to happen, then we're not pounding the stone with enough energy, effort, intensity, deliberation, or precision. If we value all 1,000 strikes, each pound of the stone, as everyone is equal getting us to where we go, here's what I guarantee. You're going to probably shoot a little bit longer in your driveway. You're probably going to stop yourself a little bit more and correct it and care a little bit more. That is training different. And here's the cumulative effect of all these little things about training different. If you apply these 3 things that we talked to today and on whatever you did, you are already better than nearly everyone out there. And over time, as you pound the stone with deliberate practice and go with a plan, you're different. And if you're different long enough, eventually you're going to be better. And that's how you train different. Gosh, I feel like I need to snap right now. We probably got some time for a couple of questions, and then we're gonna jump out here. Kyle, you can ask them.
Yeah,
we can field a couple of these as
well. There's actually a good one from Ashley. What is PGC Plus? What will it offer? What is this whole thing?
Yeah, so we're building out right now. PGC Plus is our online platform where we're going to serve the basketball community with online products. What's coming? One-on-one mentorship with our PGC directors, where we can help you build out your plan and give you individual feedback in this time where you might be locked up. What's coming? Online courses is coming. What's coming? Online training plans. But right now, we're committed to giving you this content 5 days a week on the peak.
Here's another one. Is there a video or videos that you can send for workouts?
Absolutely. So here's your assignment. Thank you. You want to get that link up for the 2020?
Yep.
So, man, me and Kyle went out to an outdoor court 3 days ago, I don't know. And we shot the 2020 vision workout. And Kyle's dropping a link in to this YouTube video. It dropped today. I challenge each and every one of you to get outside and do this shooting workout. Hit us up. Kyle's also going to be dropping links to our social media. Hit us up on our PGC Basketball Instagram, Twitter pages, Facebook if you're on Facebook, and drop a little video of you sharing how many shots you made on the 2020 workout. PGC Director Rudy Bentley has the current record at 126. I need to get out and actually do the full workout because just demonstrating it exhausted me, and so I didn't even do the full workout. But you can see me doing the workout on there, and feel free to hit us up with any support. It's a fun one. It's a great way to get just touching the basketball. Have a plan. You can stop yourself with deliberate practice, and you can pound that stone for 20 minutes straight. What? Rudy got 130? Okay, my apologies, Rudy Bentley. We can talk to Rudy about that tomorrow as he does a lower body workout with us. I'm excited for this journey with each and every one of you. We'll be rotating through a whole bunch of our PGC directors and thought leaders in the basketball community just to serve you guys here on the Peak.
Yep, this is Macklemore.
And this is The Rock Johnson. And we're signing out. And thanks for spending this time with us. We'll see you next time.
See y'all.